Hi everyone, uh, welcome back to another chit chat rant type of video. In fact, I had to bring out my podcast mic because this is like public service announcement type of chit chat video this morning. So I am getting ready to take Tisha for her to her school. So I'm pretty much about to start school runs this morning, this new week, and I just wanted to get my skincare done while I just chit chat with you guys. Yeah. So so I'm just applying my toner. I don't even see the state that I am right now. I don't even think I'm going to be telling you whether what I'm applying or what I'm not applying. Just take it like that. You guys, I don't understand what is going on in this country anymore. I don't get it. If anybody can explain it to me so I can understand better, that would be nice. But I just don't get it. Like, it's like, when you say you've seen the worst of Nigeria, we sink down into a new type of low, a different type of low. I've never experienced this type of Nigeria in my life before, and it almost just seems like everybody that is relocating, everybody that is jackpying, almost as if they are being vindicated, because I cannot understand why almost everything right now in Nigeria is a struggle. And like I said, if you can understand it, please explain it to me, because it's getting out of hand. Why are we struggling for fuel? That one has even been happening for the past it started sometime in November. I remember I was talking to my boss at work and she was like, oh, by December it would have cleared. I was like, from what I hear, it's even going to pass Christmas. And now it has passed Christmas. It's like every week in my life, I always pick a day to go and hustle for fuel. And when I hustle for fuel, I'm not just buying in my car. I'll take my car. I'll carry like 3 kegs because we have generator and I have to like fill up the tank and everything. And it's so annoying because I'm just like, is this really how we're going to continue? Is this how we're going to continue to spend the rest of our lives in this country? If you've been following Nigerian news, if you're in Nigeria, you know the new deal with trying to get cash. So CBN had announced a while back that they wanted to change the currency. First off, I don't know which country just changes currency like that, but let's even take them by their words. So they announced that they were going to change currency, and that by a certain date, by a particular date, we were all supposed to have submitted or turned in the old currency and be given the new currency, right? So everybody started spending all their old notes so that they would just get rid of it before the deadline expires, so they don't have to keep old notes with them. Now tell me why, after we all did all of that, we don't now have cash, because the new note is no longer is not accessible to the general public. You have endless queues, people queuing at ATM machines for hours. It's like you queue for fuel, you queue to get cash. People are selling the new notes, even the old naira, because people don't even have the old naira anymore. People are selling the old naira and the new naira at different ridiculous prices. You want to buy 20,000 naira, they ask you to bring 5,000 naira. So basically you're getting 15,000 naira. That's if it is maybe new note. If it is old note, they'll say you should bring like 2,000 naira or something like that. It's just becoming ridiculous by the moment. Banks are not helping matters. I went to my bank the other day. I thought I was being smart, right? I went to the ATM machine, and so I got to the ATM and I saw that there were a whole bunch of people, right? So I thought I was being smart. And then the security was like, oh, that I have to stand in the queue, whatever. So I thought these were just people. I thought they were just people that didn't want to like go inside the banking hall, because people hate going into the banking hall. I hate going to the banking hall. So I thought it was just people that just didn't want to go into the banking hall to get cash, right? That's why there are long queues at the ATM. So I go into the banking hall, and when I get in there, the security is like, oh, what do I need? Like, how may they be of help? I was like, I need to withdraw from my account. And this security guy had the effrontery in this life to ask me, is it dollars I want to withdraw? Excuse me, do we spend dollars in this country? Is our legal tender dollars? And then I looked at him like, what kind of stupid question is that? Obviously, I want to withdraw naira. And it was like, oh no, we're not giving out naira. The only cash that you can withdraw from inside the bank is dollars. Help me make sense of it. Like, how exactly does that make sense? And there's so many information making the rounds about how CBN says they've disbursed money or whatever, but then the banks are the ones that are not. Sorry, why am I telling you guys sorry? The banks are the ones that are not like issuing or giving out this money, and that's where another point of mine comes through, and I think it's actually one of the reasons why I'm making this rant chit chat video this morning, because to me it just seems like Nigerians in general, we the citizens, we are Nigeria's problem. Because if truly the banks have said that they have disbursed, or CBN said that they have disbursed these funds, the cash, then why are we hoarding money? Yesterday I saw in the news somewhere in my state, a bank in my state had about 6 million naira in new currency, and they decided to just keep it, like just hide it. And I was talking to my husband, I was like, so a place like my village that grandmother lives there's no bank there. They always have to go into town where there's only one bank, and then they go there and there's no money. Why? Because some selfish people have decided to keep this money for themselves, and like my husband said, not even keep for themselves, maybe to the highest bidder. So if somebody if a rich man comes, they'll sell it to him. How? Like, we as Nigerians, we are seeing that we all have a collective problem right now, but you think that the solution is to sell it to the highest bidder. People have been displaying in different ways. People have been stripping naked in banking halls. There's a woman that was stripped and said, you know, she needs to pay her children's school fees. She needs to feed her children. How exactly do you expect this woman to do this without no cash, no physical cash? We all can't do online transactions and transfers, because the reality of things is that Nigeria has not gotten to that point where we can operate a cashless society. The other day, a friend of mine's mom wanted to buy Ori shea butter, and if you know shea butter, the old women that sell shea butter in the market are just old women that are just, you know, trying to make a living, right? Are you going to tell me that how much is Ori, original Ori in the market? Maybe like 150, 200 naira. So you will not tell the woman that you want to transfer to her account. How does that make sense? There are some people that, whether we like it or not in this country, that if they do not, whatever money they make in a day from sales is what they're going to use to eat dinner. So telling people that you will transfer the money is not realistic for a lot of people. It's not everybody that can work with that. Do you understand? The woman that stripped naked in the bank, somebody was saying, well, like, she's just being dramatic, she's just overreacting because she wants to get money. If you actually go and check, she may not even have children, she's just lying because she wants to get money. And I'm like, you see why I say Nigerians are Nigerians' problem? Can we have some type of empathy? And it's like what I've been preaching lately. You need to teach your children empathy. We need to teach our kids empathy, because imagine a world that had empathy. I feel like the world would be a better place if you gave people the benefit of doubt. So, because why exactly are you jumping into conclusions that this woman that's stripped naked for the whole world to see is lying because she wants to get cash? Why do you just automatically assume, like, are we not all going through, the person that is talking about this thing is going through the same problem? Oh? The person too has the same problem of not having cash, but the person just wants to chase clout. The person just wants to be a hater. That's just I'm going to put it. You know, so everybody is pretty much everybody's problem in this country. So obviously I will talk about all these haters, but I can't also make this video without talking about people that have been extremely nice and good to people in this whole thing that has been going on. For example, I finally got cash. I got cash some days back. I had called my bank. My bank said that they were giving out cash, but with a cap of 20,000. Was it 20,000 naira or 30,000 naira? Like, you guys, it burst my brain that we're at the point in this country where everybody has, or a lot of people have money in their accounts, but don't have access to it. Like, it just burst my brain, right? So the bank says they're going to give me 20,000 naira, but in 100 naira notes. And 100 naira notes is almost like a denomination that, I don't want to say extinct. It's not extinct, but that's not what everyone uses. So giving me 30,000 naira of 100 naira notes is probably going to be this bulky. Like, I probably have to be carrying out this bulk of cash, right? Or any other denomination. That's why everybody likes to go with 1,000 naira or 500 naira, because it's easier to spend, right? So I was on my way to the bank that day, I think it was last week Friday, I was on my way to the bank to get this cash. And when I got to, there's an intersection I got to where I either turn to this side to go to the filling station where I usually buy fuel, or I turn to this side and go to the bank. So the Holy Spirit just told me, like, turn to this side to go and buy fuel. Like, what's the worst that could happen? They'll say they don't have fuel, right? I was like, that's just going to waste my time. I'll go there, they'll say they're not selling, or there'll be a long ass queue and I have to turn back, right? But then I just listened and then I went. I was like, the worst that will happen is I'll see the queue and I'll turn back and go home. So I got there, there was no long queues, thankfully. So I parked and then I got out of the car to go ask the attendant that was selling the fuel, like, are you guys selling in kegs? Because I also have to buy my keg. And this is an attendant that attends to me every time I go there. Or I like him attending to me sharp. And then I tip him like 500 naira, 1000 naira, depending on my mood whenever I go, right? And then this guy was like, oh, mama, how you doing now? Come. He was even telling me to come and boycott the line. I should come to the front. I was like, no, don't worry. There are just 3 cars in front of me. I'll wait and then I'll buy what I want to buy. It got to my turn. And first off, this guy is like, oh, by the way, we're now selling fuel 300 naira per liter. Let me tell you, when this whole wahala started, right, fuel was going for about 180 naira per liter, which was still kind of pricey to me. I remember when I started driving in Lagos, I don't know how much per liter it was, but I know like 5,000 naira used to fill my tank. But now, let's just reserve that. So he tells me that, oh, it's now 300 naira per liter. I'm like, okay, fine. I mean, we'll still buy it. No need. Do we have a choice? Rather, the other places that are selling for cheaper, which isn't even really cheaper like that, it's like 250 naira per liter or 220 naira per liter. They have endless queues for hours. So let me just do this. So he's selling the fuel to me, right? And he says that they take POS, like ATM cards. And apparently he only said that to me because he just didn't want me to go. Apparently the POS machine has not been working all day. So when I finished buying the fuel, I was just complaining about how I don't have cash and blah blah blah. And he's like, oh mama, do you need cash? I'm like, oh yeah, like I need cash, but like, do you know where I can get it from? Do you know who you can hook me up with? You know, that kind of thing. And he was even looking at me, he was even telling me, mama, you're too slow. Do you need cash? As in, you need cash? I'm like, yes, I need cash now. He's like, okay, don't worry, I got you. So he calculates the amount of my fuel. God, it was a ridiculous price. 3 kegs, 25 liter kegs, 3 kegs, and my car. Everything was so expensive, you guys. So he calculates everything and then he asks me how much fuel do I need. Sorry, and then he asked me how much cash I need. Because I wasn't so sure of this is plugged for cash, I just told him, give me 20,000, because I mean, like, let's just even use that to test run. And he's like, okay. So he adds the 20,000 naira to my fuel money and then he puts everything in the POS. And apparently, like I said earlier, the POS had not been working. So he just risked it, and luckily for me, it actually went through, thankfully. And then so I'm like, where's my cash? And so he puts his hand in his pocket, and you know how people have been coming to buy fuel from him like all day. He had a whole bulk of cash in his pocket, and he just gave me the 20,000 naira. He didn't add any 100 naira interest, any 2,000 naira interest, or like he basically didn't sell the naira to me, Sha. He just gave me the naira like that. Although he was hiding it from his boss, but I was so thankful, because I mean, where exactly was I supposed to get cash from? I was going to my bank that was going to give me a cap of 20,000 naira with 100 naira notes, which was going to be ridiculous. So here is he giving me 20,000 naira with 1,500 naira notes. I was so grateful. I was thankful, and I didn't have to like queue. I didn't have to like pay him extra or whatever. I mean, when I told my nanny, when I told Tisha's nanny, she was like, mommy, you're always good to him now. Every time you go, you're always giving him something. So it was his turn to do you a favor. So that's by the way. Anyways, side notes, that one, always make sure you're nice to people like that, your fuel attendant, petrol attendant, your POS guy, your what you call it, dispatch riders, you know, things like that. I always make sure I'm very nice to them, not because I expect anything in return, because I just know that a lot of times they're earning very little from what they are doing, and it's just nice. It's just nice. It's just a nice gesture if you have it, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Sometimes it's like 200 naira, sometimes like 500 naira. It's not a lot. It's not a big deal like that. So now I have cash and I need to buy things. Things are ridiculously expensive. I'm going back to work next week. I don't even want to think about it, you guys. I don't want to think about it. I've been off work for 6 weeks on my annual leave, and I'm going back to work next week, and I really seriously don't want to think about it. But I'm going back to work next week whether I like it or not. So I've started like stocking the house for like, you know, supplies that we'll need in the house, because I wouldn't have the luxury of always going to the store or to the market to buy something. And I'm going to the store this weekend, the supermarket. I'm just saying, do you know, I actually did not buy anything when I went to the supermarket. I turned back because I'm like, what in God's name? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not ready to deal with this. I'm seriously not ready to deal with all of this. So, you know what? I still have a week before I go back to work. I'll probably go back again to the supermarket, because I got there, I was seeing the price of Golden Morn had increased. The price of Tisha's milk had increased. I was just like, what? Like, what is going on? I was just looking at I think I wanted to buy basmati rice, and I was like, what in God's name is actually going on? So I just turned back, and the store people were like, Mama, you're not buying anything. And I said, I'll come back, because I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. How are people surviving? Because it's so hard for me, and this is me that, you know, I get a salary. I thank God I'm comfortable. I'm really thankful to God. After I bought my fuel that day, it was so expensive, like I said, but I literally found myself in the car as I was driving. I was alone in the car, and I was praying. You know how there's a difference between you're praying and your mouths are open and you're praying by yourself, and you just praying in your mind. I actually opened my mouth as I was driving. I was like, God, it's only you I'm going to give thanks to, because as expensive as things are getting, you're still providing for me to be able to afford these things. But at the same time, I'm just thinking that it's not fair. It is not fair at all. God, I'm grateful that I can afford these things, but it's not fair, because I told my mom, I was like, how can I not be able to afford a vacation for myself and my family? Like, I was on leave for 6 weeks, and I did not go on any vacation with myself and my family. Why? Because things are so expensive. Everything now is a hustle. I thank God that by the special grace of God, He keeps providing for my family. But the providing itself, like, we're just managing like that, and I thank God that at least we're able to manage. But I don't know how much of this I can continually take, because, and like I said, it just seems like those that jackpot are the ones that are now being vindicated. Like, shebi we told you guys. Although some of us cannot just pack up everything and leave like that, but that doesn't mean that we're going to continue to live like this. Elections are next week, is in a couple of days time. I think in about how many days now? Maybe 20 days or 19 days, I don't even know, but that's literally in about 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks, or even more than 2 weeks. But this February, it's not going to pass this February that we have to go out and vote. And I'm just praying that Nigerians make the right decision. Honestly, I have my PVC. I plan to vote. I know who I plan to vote for. But I pray that Nigeria as a collective, we make the right decisions and just do what's best for this country, because it's touching everybody. It's touching everybody, especially this cash thing. The thing touch everybody. I just pray that we all make the best decisions that is going to be right for Nigeria in a couple of weeks when we go out to the polls and we vote, because I don't know how much of this a human being can continually take. It's just ridiculous. But all in everything I've said, we're just going to continue professing positive things. I don't want to I try and make a conscious effort not to say bad things about the country and even about my situation right now as a Nigerian. I just keep professing good things, because I know that from my mouth to God's ears, God is going to make everything right. And I just want everybody to also be positive. Trust me, I understand the situation, but just using your mouth to confess positive things is going to go a long way for you and your family. So let's just keep doing that. Let's just keep praying that God, don't let us miss it this time when it comes to who to vote for and how this country will be better. You guys, that's the end of my rant. Please tell me, how are you coping in this situation? What is it like for you? Buying things for your kids, buying things for yourself. How is how is all of this looking like for you? How do you feel about it? What are the things you've done to cut cost? Because I know I've done so many things, and in fact, in a way, I'm even thankful that I'm going back to work now, so that I will be able to do more calculations to cut cost. So how have you been able to cut costs? Is it in the feeding? Is it in, like, do you now regulate how many hours in a day you turn on your gen? We cuckoo regulate it before, so we have just gone back to cuckoo regulating it again. And then how do you get fuel to go to work? How do you, buses have increased prices. I mean, duh, as fuel prices have increased, buses have increased prices. I just wonder how people that live in the villages, like my grandma, how they are coping. Because if we in the city don't have access to cash, how do they have access to cash? How do they have access to fuel? And they need to move around too. I don't, you know what? God help us. Thank you guys so much for watching this rant. I don't even know if I should thank you guys for watching it, but it's just the reality of things that I just needed to get. I feel like I just needed to talk to you guys and get it out of my chest. But at the same time, let us just confess positive affirmations to ourselves and not use our mouth to invoke bad things to ourselves. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyways, I need to go drop my daughter off in school now and continue the daily hustle of going to look for fuel and look for cash and every other thing. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
So casually keep diving into concrete, so bittersweet.